La for, hit ya for none. All the time. La for, hit ya for none. Hit ya for none. For Islam stand for peace. La for, hit ya for none. Hit ya for none. For Islam stand for peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. To you, cherished viewers of MTA International Africa, you are once again welcome to your favorite program, Real Talk Africa, a program where we bring you discussion from different countries of the African continent, discussing pertinent issues to our continent and how we can better do that. Ghana is our homeland, and it is our responsibility to make sure that this place is habitable for its inhabitants. There cannot be any significant development in our country if we do not pay attention towards maintaining what we already have. Per what I have just said, you might have rightly concluded that today we will be discussing maintenance culture. That is how we can maintain things in our society to make sure they last long and save ourselves from unnecessary expenditure. As usual, with us today, we have a large audience with us to share their views and questions. Our panelists joining us today to do justice to this topic are two very respectable gentlemen. On my immediate left is Mr. Zahid Abdul Rahim, a waste management expert. Mr. Zahid, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
With us is Movi Farid Ewusi, a respectable missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Ghana, serving in its headquarters in Accra. Movi Sab, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Mr. Zahid, we would begin with you. If you could kindly explain to us what, maintenance culture is and how it's vital to societal development.
Maintenance culture is essentially a mindset and practices a society adapts to ensure that its infrastructure, resources, and facilities are constantly kept in good conditions. This is important for societal development because, first, it saves costs. Secondly, it ensures safety. Thirdly, it enhances efficiency. And last but not the least, it preserves cultural heritage.
That's beautiful. So it saves cost, increases efficiency, and saves us from unnecessary harms. So can you explain to us the different types of maintenance culture, it being your field, the different types that exist, to help better the society?
I can state about 4 of them. That is corrective maintenance.
Okay.
Corrective maintenance is what basically everybody does. When you have something, a facility, then it gets spoiled, you fix it. Like when you have a building and the window got shattered, you will replace it. That is corrective maintenance.
Okay.
And we have preventive maintenance. That is, you have planned activities for maintaining that facility before it gets a problem.
Okay, that is corrective maintenance.
No, that is
Preventive maintenance. To have things in place before the thing actually gets bought.
Example is like you send your car for routine checks every 3 months, so that it doesn't break down.
Yes.
So that is preventive maintenance.
Yes.
Then we have predictive maintenance.
Okay.
That is using data to ensure the problem does not occur before you solve it.
Okay, so that means there is a kind of similarity between the preventive and the predictive ones.
Preventive and predictive.
Yes, because in the preventive we do things to prevent things from happening, and the predictive ones is
predictive is you monitor till, like, there are certain machines.
Okay.
It has wear and tear.
Okay.
So you predict that in the next 3 months, it will erode.
Okay.
So that you put in place mechanism to see that this machine will, this is the timeline, it will break down.
Okay.
So that is predictive. So you are predicting when the machine will break down.
Okay, so you predict problems that are likely to affect the product.
The product.
Okay.
So that is predictive.
Okay.
And we have proactive. Proactive is you identify the root cause of the problem before it even occurs.
Okay.
So proactive is you use trends, feedbacks from, that is your clients. If it is a facility, your clients, oh, the tiles you used in this place, maybe you used a slippery tile in a commercial area.
Okay.
Probably you needed, the feedback that is coming to you is people are scratching because of the heels of ladies, they are scratching the place. So you also do analysis about the time, how many times will there be scratches, or the number of changes you do in a year, so that you look for tiles or products that will best fit the facility, that you don't frequently maintain that facility. So that is proactive maintenance.
That's wonderful.
So these are the 4 maintenances which I can mention.
Mr. Zahid, may Allah bless you. I think that has really put it into perspective. I think these are things some of us already do in our homes, but categorizing it into these 4 parts gives a general perspective on how we can approach, things like this. May Allah bless you. Mofisab, I would come to you now. Can you give us, some instances in history where Ghanaians or Ghana, the Ghanaian government, implemented, these strategies of maintenance culture in order to maintain some of our important artifacts and buildings in this country?
Okay, yes, it's true. There are so many places and things in Ghana whereby sound maintenance help to preserve its cultural heritage and historical, heritage. We have the Flagstaff House, which is now called the Jubilee House. It was built by the British, but it was rebuilt by the then First Republic of Ghana, first president of the Republic of Ghana, that is Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He built it in the year 1965. But during the era of the former president Ejiokum Kufuor, he also renovated it. He renovated to its, let's say, present state. Continuous preservation has helped to preserve it up to date.
1965 up till now, that is quite a long time.
Yes. We can also talk of the Akosombo Dam. It was built in the year 1961. And even it was there, then the VRA, Volta River Authority, was also established. They were tasked to supervise the construction of the dam.
Yes.
And as we all know, the dam has also, you see, this year's 1961, you and I even were not born.
Exactly.
So it has been maintained from time to time. It is a situation whereby the water in the dam also sometimes gets to the brim. Yes. So it has to be spilled for some time so that it can reduce to
regularly.
A regular maintenance, so that it can be reduced to a proper stage whereby it can work efficiently. Because whenever the water gets to the brim, it can even destroy the turbines. So we can recall just recently an incident happened in Ho, whereby instructions were not issued early. So when they spilled the dam, it destroyed people's home and what have you. It was a tragic incident which was not supposed to have happened, but it happened. So we have to understand that we should maintain some of these artifacts and things that we have so that it will not cause damage. We can also talk of the forts in Ghana. When we talk of the forts, we can recount the Elmina Castle.
Yes.
It was a seat for slave trade. That is the transatlantic slave trade, whereby Ghanaians were sold in and out of the country. This Elmina Castle was built by the Portuguese in the year 1482.
Oh.
In the year 1482. So we can also understand from this that regular maintenance have taken place and it is preserved now. And we also have to understand that these artifacts and places that we have, because of regular maintenance, it has also brought revenue to the state or revenue to the government. We can also talk of the...
like revenue in sense of the tourism.
Yes, please.
You know, people come from
other places far and wide.
Recently, it has been gaining popularity on the social media where you see African Americans coming back to Ghana, especially Ghana, they mention it, how they visit the places and they're able to, you know, somehow relive the challenges their ancestors went through. So I think the review part is a very relevant thing that's helping us.
We can also talk of the Boku Museum.
Okay.
It has also regular maintenance has helped to preserve the region's cultural heritage. We can also talk of the Mole National Park. You know, it is a park which, like a wildlife place, which helps to maintain the ecosystem.
That's
and we
wonderful.
can also...
That's very beautiful, the examples you've given. I believe that if we give you the chance, you know, you'll continue to present more.
I have more and more. That's why I said there are many.
Yes. I think the ones you've given us, you know, gives us, you know, a general idea of how Ghana has, you know, done that. But we are also aware of the fact that there are so many other things in our country that is being maintained poorly. And as a result of that, we are losing a lot of revenue, you know, because as Mr. Zahid just mentioned, it's cost, it, you know, regulates cost, you know, so we are losing a lot of money as a country. Viewers, we have our audience here with us in the studio, and we'll be going to them now to hear, you know, their views, and if they have any questions for our experts here in the studio so that they could, you know, clarify anything they want clarified. And so anybody here who would want to share with us view on the current situation in our country, the whole continent of Africa, and how best you think we can, you know, rectify these situations. Did you tell us your name before you start speaking so that our audience at home would know you?
All right. My name is Nassau Jebi. Yes, I think Parliament itself should bring a law which you can use it as a maintenance culture, because we should do a law whereby everybody must follow the instruction. If not that, it will be very difficult for us to maintain, to do maintenance.
Yes, I think what they are saying is very important, because if a law exists, yes, laws exist. Oh, interesting. So how come that governments comes in and, you know, they bring new ministries, they keep breaking things down?
We are not order foreign. If there's a law exists,
There are laws.
you should put it in a proper perspective so that we can follow the law.
Mr. Zahid being the expert, let's hear him. I think he has something to say on that.
There are laws on that. Factory Offices and Shops Act of 1970, Act 326. It's a law that regulates how we maintain our spaces in front of our shops, how people have to maintain those surroundings. There's a law about it. It is just about the enforcement and the citizenry even adhering to it.
Okay.
Even for health, all Ghana, it is not about laws, it is about implementation.
Yes. Wow. So audience, you know, can anybody tell us why you think, you know, the implementation process is slow, or what exactly is wrong and what is causing this? I believe Nasir Bilal Sab wants to make a point, if the mic can be passed to him.
My name is Nasir Bilal, and one of the causes of the poor maintenance culture in Ghana is corruption.
Okay.
Most of our leaders engage in corruption and building artifacts like roads and they do not build with proper materials.
Okay. So from the onset, it is poor.
Yeah. From the beginning, it is poor. And instead of them to maintain it regularly, they do not maintain it.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you very much. Any other thing? Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Ayman Mahdi, and one thing I want to share about with this implementation culture is that it's lack of education, formal education, and high illiteracy rate. Because even though there are laws that help guide the maintenance culture, there are still people who don't understand the law. There are people who still don't understand the law, which means no matter how the law is said to them or read to them, they will still not understand it.
Ignorance plays a role which slows down the implementation of these laws? As we just mentioned, if Mr. Zahid just didn't mention to us.
I will have a problem with the ignorance part, because we growing up in our circles or in our places, we used to hear sama, that is sanitation officers, town council officers that used to come to communities to ensure that people have maintained their gutters. And it was working. Because everybody, because of those people, you need to clean your gutters, you needed to clean your houses. If you don't do that, you are taken to court and sanctioned. Or you pay fine. But nowadays it doesn't occur. So people just dump waste in gutters. Frontage of people are dirty, nobody cares. So it is not about ignorance, it is about enforcement.
I believe there is still a point in the ignorance issue, because as you have mentioned, when we were children, or when you were children, some of us are senior to the others, right? And these things are no longer happening. And so those who are being born nowadays are unaware that these things are occurring in the society. And so they are just living. That's what they came to meet, and that's what they will implement. I think there is a greater need of sensitization in the Ghanaian society, so that the populace would be made more aware. Accra is being ranked amongst one of the dirtiest, cities in the continent. Is very bad. Mr. Zahid, I would come to you with another question as well.
I would also want to sanction that there are laws, but as he said, due to ignorance, people are steeped in, gathering thinking of what will come in their pocket rather than maintaining, the government or the people's things. You see, we will take money, raise huge budgets to maintain something, but the money issued for us to do the work, we are not using that.
Yes, exactly. That's what the point.
We will take larger part of the money and use a few to do the thing. And again, we will raise another budget to do the same thing again. So it is a wastage of money and wastage of Ghanaians' resources.
I think your point complements what Nasir Bilal just mentioned. The issue of corruption in our society plays a vital role, in poor maintenance culture. Mr. Zahid, I want to know, from your own personal experience as a child, what kind of steps do you used to take in your homes to maintain the properties you had at home and some other important things at home? What kind of steps do you take personally?
Growing up, the family setting, your parents divide chores for you. So within the household, everybody has something you have to do within the week. Or that is, so maybe your sister takes care of this aspect of the house, you take care of this aspect of the house, you're younger. So everybody knew whatever the person has to do. That is, when you wake up in the morning, they will say, oh, Zaid, you have to sweep the living room. Your sister have to sweep outside the room. So everybody, you knew that the place you are have to be kept clean and maintained. Because when you leave rubbish or anything, their water, it causes there can be corrosion with metals, because you have to clean. You wipe in front of the television, you clean the bathrooms. All these are regular maintenance that was inculcated in us when we were children.
So I think distribution of responsibilities amongst the children in the home,
and awareness.
Yes.
So you've been aware that when you wake up in the morning, you have to clean the house, the room. You have to clean your washrooms. Those are all awareness that it becomes your habit, and it builds into you. It becomes a character that you live with, so that you know that all the time these are the things you have to do, and it becomes part of you as a child.
Wonderful. We won't take you, personal experience from as you grew up as a child. How did you maintain, your family house and stuff like that? What kind of the practices did you have at home?
Yes. When we talk of sound maintenance, we have so many characters that we need to do. That is, when you are in class, you share ideas about topics, and even in group meetings, we attend classes on time and help us to be time conscious. We pick and sweep the compounds, and whereby even we are divided into sections, whereby we have the section red, we have the section blue, we have the section yellow, and marks are awarded at the end of the week. This boosts us to maintain our surroundings and makes it serene. Also, we can talk of protecting of books in the classrooms. Some of the people are of the character that they will take people's book and even throw them to the owner. This destroys the book, and the parents spend money. They waste money again to buy new ones or even to maintain them. So we don't throw books to the person. It's better you walk to the person, or better still call the person to come for it. When we talk of homes too, we have mothers being helped. We help our mothers in the kitchen. We clean the kitchen, do the house chores, wash our utensils and what have you. We also distill choked gutters to stop breeding mosquitoes. We also empty our refuse dumps so that mosquitoes and other relative diseases will not spread. Example is cholera, which comes as a result of dirty environments. And when you talk of the general public, as a child too, when you see something on the pathways and it can harm others, you should do well to remove it. And also greetings also help to maintain sound maintenance in Ghana. Then, under normal circumstances, when you see a wayfarer, a stranger, who needs to be directed to his destination, if only you can help, you can also give that direction, and it will help to maintain the culture of Ghana.
Wonderful. Musa, Jazakumullah. I think you're giving us a lot of things we can do to make sure our society is maintained properly. Yes, we'll move to the audience as well. We also come from different homes, different places, and different parts of Ghana. So where we come from, what are some of the things we do to make sure we have a healthy maintenance culture? I believe Kamil Sir would like to share something with us, so if the mic could be passed to him.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Hafiz Kamil, and I would like to share my comments that we all as kids growing up, for us to maintain, for instance, your shoe or something, especially your boots, which you use to play football. When you go to the park and mistakenly it wipes, when you come home, no one will tell you to go and, look for a way to repair it or do, because tomorrow when you don't have the shoe, you will not play.
Yes.
So you must do whatever it takes. Even if you go to a shoemaker to take the shoe nail and then the rope to, do whatever you do so that tomorrow it will be able. So to me, I would like to say that if the government will bring up the quality product to the nation, and when he brings it, there should be enforcement on it that this is how we have to use it. We shouldn't use it much. We shouldn't do overtime or something. Okay. That's what I think.
Yes, that's really beautiful. So let's pass the next mic on to Abisab. You would want to share something?
You mean that the education should be more?
Yes,
so I think we can understand and.
Yes, I think we discussed the issue of sensitization of the youth. And I think that is the point that he emphasized on.
Yes.
Abisab.
I'm Hafiz Mugiz Juno Barak. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Okay, a typical example is back in school, when my father used to buy an exercise book for me. He usually buy the exercise book with a brown paper. With a brown paper, with a mindset that, because I was having 4 siblings, so when he buys the brown paper, I used to cover the book with a mindset that my siblings would come and use it. So when you use the brown paper on it, it takes much longer before it spoils. So that even saves money. Yeah, that's what I...
Jazakumullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
My name is Said Sam. So I'll share a couple of stories. I think when I was a kid, our house was bushy, and my dad asked me to go and weed.
Yes.
Because we hadn't maintained it for a while.
Yes.
Mistakenly, I burst a pipe.
Okay.
We had to look for an expert to come and maintain the broken pipes. And this is a form of maintenance culture. Just because we didn't weed on time, it was overgrown. So I couldn't see the pipe that I burst.
Yes.
Additionally...
Which increased unnecessary
exactly, cost. We had to repair the pipes.
Yes.
These are costs you incurred. Additionally, as Amidi youth, we also often do Wakarama. We own these places of worship, circuit missionaries' homes and other places. Like they become our personal properties, and we ensure that we keep those spaces clean. And I feel that if the general citizenry has this form of ownership of properties and other things, it goes a long way to help in the maintenance culture, because you see those things as yours, your personal properties, and it goes a long way in maintaining them because you love them as your own things.
Thank you. And to explain to our viewers what Wakari Amal is a term which basically means dignity of labor. And it's an activity that Ahmadiyya Muslim youth, known as Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, engage in regularly. In all parts of the world where our community exists, our Jamaat, our community, makes sure it engages in these things. In the UK, in disaster relief situations, we are there. In Ghana, in other places as well. So that's what basically Wakari Amal means. Mr. Zahid, we would come to you and ask you this question. Can you share with us, some of the effects of poor maintenance culture in our society?
Basically, there are about 3 or 4 that I can mention.
Okay.
That is increasing costs. Neglecting maintenance increases your cost of repairing that item that you have left. If it is a building, you leave it, it deteriorates, and fixing it will cost you more than if you were regularly fixing it.
Yes.
Then we have safety concerns, like buildings that has been built in the colonial eras, and you leave it without maintaining it. It becomes a death trap.
I think these safety things are very serious. A year ago, a Malcolm building.
Yeah, Malcolm building.
Yeah.
That is one example. The safety concerns were not, and the maintenance aspect of it was not, there was no regular check on how the structure of the building was. So people end up losing their lives. It can also cause accidents for people, because if a building is not properly maintained, somebody can be walking and a slab can come from the top and hit that person to injure him. Then the reducing efficiency, like machines. If you don't regularly check the machine, the effectiveness of the machine, the working of the machine reduces. And that is spaces, communities. If you don't maintain community, that's why there are certain communities people don't want to be associated, because you don't take pride you coming from that community. Because the gutters are choked, the streets are littered, every place is. So you will see somebody coming from a community in years ago, he would have been proud of coming from that community. But because that community has not been properly maintained, the health-wise, it is not good for habitation. And pride-wise, people don't want to own up that I come from this community. So those are some of the effects of bad maintenance.
Wonderful. Mr. Zahid, I believe this really, reflects the condition we have here in Ghana. And our viewers, I believe, would agree with this, that, there are places in Accra and some other places in Ghana where you cannot visit because of the filth that have gathered in some of these places. And so we would go now to social media to go and read the comments some Ghanaians have shared online on the current situation of maintenance culture in Ghana. So we'll go to Twitter, and on Twitter, Kobina Dubois writes that I am not excited about new projects because Ghana has a poor maintenance culture. Often, projects are initiated to amass wealth through inflated costs rather than to benefit the people. This project was built to line someone's pockets, not to serve the public. Our system is deeply flawed. I believe we just discussed that, one of our audience members just mentioned the issue of corruption. Delali also on Twitter says that this is a very unfortunate situation. How can we initiate projects without maintaining them? As a result, we are not generating revenue, but instead experiencing financial loss. Assemblyman says that this nice project, but there is no proper supervision and maintenance from the government, a country called Ghana. So viewers, you can see the frustration that exists in the youth of the Ghanaian populace. We can see that when our governments do not pay attention to the development of the nation and the issue of maintenance culture, it creates unrest amongst the people. We are seeing unpalatable repercussions across the whole of the African continent. The financial situation in Kenya, resulted in serious riots going around before the government took action. So our government shouldn't wait when unrest, arises amongst the youth before they take action. I believe, our panelists here would agree with us that we shouldn't allow this thing to happen, and they should make sure they take action before these things happen. If they do not try to institute proper maintenance culture.
In Ghana, people profiteer from lack of maintenance because
exactly.
it is an avenue for procurement.
Yes.
So people deliberately allow those things to deteriorate.
Yes.
Especially our ambulances. People know that, let's leave these ambulances to rot. In the next 2-3 years, it is a huge procurement bonanza for them.
Exactly.
So most of these, some of our maintenance, lack of maintenance is as a result of people profiteering from it.
I like the point you just made because it's the next question I'm about to ask you, Mr. Zahid. So you are saying that people profiteer from these things, people benefit from these things. So Mr. Zahid, who do we blame? Who do we blame, for this poor attitude towards maintenance in the country?
I can say everybody is blamable.
Yes.
Individuals are blamable, governments are blamable, community leaders are blamable. Because as an individual, you have to maintain your own space, right? If everybody as an individual maintains his or her house, it's a collective thing. It then goes through around the whole nation. If governments who initiate, that is, I can specifically say, Parliament does their own work, that is, implement. They set out the laws.
Yes.
There are people who need to enforce it.
Yes.
Like I read because people didn't even know we have regulations for it. Because they don't even know that when you don't clean your frontage, it is an offense.
Zahid, we talk about the individuals and that if they cooperate with the government, right, it would help make things better.
Yeah.
But one of our tutors just said something. I would want to read it to you and see what response you give to it. Kojo states that unfortunately, the government keeps wasting money on Zoomlion and the sanitation ministry, right? Yeah. And it is clear in Ghana right nowadays, I don't even remember the last time I saw the Zoomlion going on any activities. And so
they do.
Where are they?
They do, but it is not effective and efficient.
So the government is to blame as well?
No, government. That is why I say it is individual and government. Because the person might sweep the place in less than 30 minutes. Somebody will drop from a car and later.
Okay.
So you pass about 5 minutes earlier, you pass the place was swept. 10 minutes later, you come the same place is littered. So we then cause the work that those people are doing to not be full. It then tends not to work. And it is not sufficient because it is only some few spaces that those Zoomlion are tasked to work. So it then makes the whole work not seen as being effective.
Yes. I think, the Ghanaian youth are coming to the realization that they need to take care of the society. Recently, there is this community, this group of men or group of Ghanaians who volunteer for work, the bus stop boys, right? We see the activities on social media where they go to places where they are completely filthy, gutters are choked. And they themselves volunteer, they share things online. And so if you're a Ghanaian and would want to volunteer, you go there to go and help and make sure, the place is clean. The last time I was watching, they went to some part in Kumasi and a completely very nasty place. There are people who don't know that there was a war there. After they cleared the place, it became apparent that there was a war there and there was a pavement road there and everything. And so it's work. So missionaries, how can the ordinary citizen, play a major part, in maintaining the national property?
Okay, when we talk of maintenance of national property, it is a way, as he said, you take it as your own personal property. Once in one gathering, that's the annual Jalsa that we have, Amir Sahib made a statement that when we see something going on, you shouldn't wait to say that it is the responsibility of so and so, but rather it is your responsibility to take care of it. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have stated that hubbul watan min al-iman, that the love for one country is part of faith. So maintaining the environment, when you talk of maintaining the environment, we talk of not littering the environment as he said. some people may be sitting in a car and they drink one or two things, then dispose of the window. The better off is that we drop it in the car, or better still, we put it in our pocket. When we reach a waste bin, then we dump it inside. We have to distill choke gutters. He talk of the sanitation. The sanitation nowadays, as we have, I don't know whether it is ignorancy or what, they will distill choke gutters and put it right at the edge of the gutter. And now it rains and the water drags it back again. And we do another budget to also again distill it. And again, we just put them there. So it is like a circle of ignorance and a circle of wastage of Ghana's property. You see? And we talk of, when we visit a place like the sports stadiums, we shouldn't, litter the place, overjoyed to an extent that we will be breaking the chairs and what have you. We should maintain it, have it in our realization that people will come, or after the game, there will be another game. So we should maintain it. Perhaps we should do constant cleaning. As Wakarama, somebody also said, we should do constant Wakarama. Again, we should serve as activists. Whenever we see something which is wrong, we should stand up and address the issue.
I believe there are a lot of things you would want to share with us, but these points, the main thing is that we should be aware. We should make sure we are monitoring, the society we live in and make sure these things are not happening. We should be proactive in bringing about initiatives to make sure the society is surviving. The example of the bus stop boys, is for all Ghanaian youth to emulate. We are really, really grateful for that. Now we'll move to our audience and, ask them some questions. We would like to hear from them. Most of you work in, different fields of profession. So in your professional area, Said Sab, can you tell us what you do to ensure proper maintenance culture?
Well, assalamu alaikum. My name is Said Sab. Well, as a project manager, as you all know, you have to...
Oh, you have an MPhil in project management, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. You'd have to partake in building of infrastructure or even policy documents. But if you take infrastructure, for example, there's a time period where you start and you finish. In between that, there's an evaluation period where you can even start from the word go to the end of the project, where you constantly engage those who are building or those who are into the construction of the said building. And as and when each step they take, you check if you evaluate those steps to see if things have gone right or things have gone wrong. And these are forms of maintenance that you ensure that whatever you've planned out to achieve, at the end of the day, you've gotten your money's worth of whatever you want to do.
That's wonderful.
But I also want to ask Mobi Saib a question.
Sure.
In the history of Islam, has there been a time where maintenance culture has been valuable to the progress of our faith?
No, is that?
Because I read somewhere that at the time they were compiling the Holy Quran, the scrolls that was written down. I think by this, was it the first or second?
First Khalifa.
First Khalifa.
Yes.
Had to gather these various scrolls and combine into one. So let's say if probably at the time, if majority of the scrolls were somewhere else, maybe couldn't have, out of a retentive memory, wouldn't have written all those things down.
Yes. Even at the beginning, I talked of to maintain peace. The Prophet Islam gathered the tribal heads.
Yes.
Lay on the ground his scarf and put the black stone on it, and it ensured national peace. Also, as you said, the Quran, also there was a time that the Hufaz were going on wars, and most of them were being killed. So it was at the time of Hadrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So Hadrat Umar radiallahu anhu suggested that the Holy Quran has to be penned down, so that as the killings goes on or the Hufaz dies, there will be a script there so that generations will come, people will get the Quran to read. Again, we can also talk of Hadrat Osman, the time of Hadrat Osman, radiallahu anhu. In his time, the Quran was being read in some way whereby people were raising allegations that the Quran, people were reading the Quran differently. So he had to, on his own authority, he had to gather those that people thought that they were reading in a different way and making people raise allegation on Islam. He had to ban them and brought the old Quran that the Prophet Islam brought. And now this is what we are having the present time.
That was the fifth standard. Yes. So they wrote a standard copy. And I think Hazrat Usman explained that it's not that the Quran, is in different meanings, but the fact that there is in the dialect of the Quraysh, that was the dialect of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that people who were non-Arabs wouldn't be confused when they enter Islam. I believe there's one other example I remember. There is a particular hadith I read where it mentions how the Prophet's mosque in Medina was gradually developed. And so the narrator of that hadith mentions that at the time of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet's mosque was just, palm trees used to cover a particular place. Then when Hazrat Umar came, they brought solid pillars there. Then when Hazrat Usman came, they expanded it and added some designs to it. And so the mosques that we see today are not like what was at the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But through the initiatives of the Khulafa of Islam, we were able to maintain the structure of the Prophet's mosque. And now when we go there today, we know where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's tomb is, where he used to pray. In fact, the first Khalifa of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mawlvi Hakim Nuruddin Sahib, when he went for Hajj, he said he went to stand where the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to stand, and give his khutbahs. I believe that, from the Islamic perspective, the Khulafa and companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam and Khulafa, engage in this maintenance culture. When we go to Qadian, as of now, all those holy places the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam visited and conducted those activities, we can find them still there. Exactly.
We can talk of the Kaaba itself. The Kaaba, how it was, is not as what we are seeing now. Now it is like a big mosque, whereby people, have their worship. And, tens of thousands are coming there to worship. So have they not maintained it? We wouldn't have even been able to, pray for our satisfaction, or even that place will not even have satisfied us.
Exactly. We are very grateful. Mr. Zaid Sab, we'll come to you now. Can you kindly highlight for us, the role of the authorities and leadership in Ghana to ensure the best attitude towards achieving a sustainable maintenance culture? What role does the government, need to play in order to make sure?
First, I mentioned this initially. That is setting out laws, enforcement, and being an example of it. So on the policy making, that is, government should set out policies or give laws that will seek to regulate or maintain public properties. Then government should allocate funds, that is, set out budget in the national budget so that it will be given to companies that can work or that will be used in maintaining government properties.
Yes.
When it comes to education and advocacy, there should be continuous awareness that people should continue to do certain things in order to maintain facilities that will help a society grow.
Sure.
Because when people are not aware that dumping refuse during raining, when somebody sees that it's just raining, they will just come out and throw their rubbish into the gutter thinking it will just go. But they don't know that when you throw that rubbish into the gutter, it gets to go to choke at some place.
Yes.
It later then becomes a problem, flooding your own area.
Yes.
Then government then is forced on to give relief to those people.
Yes.
So if you then educate them and train them on it, those costs will not be incurred by government.
Yes.
Then government setting its own example. Like all government facilities, one thing they do best is the presidency. That place, when you go, it is maintained well. But other government facilities are not maintained well.
Yes.
But if government facilities are maintained well and everybody enters any government facility and he sees that that place is maintained well, the grass is cut, the gutters are relieved, then he sees that this is a standard for me as an individual
to work on. Zahid, thank you very much. Viewers, this is where my questions for the guests come to an end. We'll take just one question from the audience if they have any question for our guests so that they would ask them, and we'll bring the program today to an end. So we'll move to our audience if anybody has a question. Is there a question?
Assalamu alaikum. This question is to Mr. Zahid Saab. In recent times, I think 2 days ago, a private company, that's Goldfields, built a sports stadium in Takwa for Midiama FC. And now the issue is that they are finding it difficult whether to release the edifice to the NSA, to the assembly, or to the government themselves, or they themselves will take control in maintaining the property. And in your earlier submission, you mentioned 4 elements that could help in the maintenance culture. So I wanted to know, within those 4 elements, what are the things you can use all 4 in maintaining such a structure, or you can just pick one out of it and use it?
Thanks for the question. All 4 elements apply to maintenance of such a facility. The first being the corrective, that the facility, anything that gets spoiled immediately is supposed to be fixed immediately. So when a chair is broken, you don't wait for about a year to fix those chairs. Immediately, there are chairs that are broken, you fix them. The preventive aspect of it is you regularly check through the sewages, everything that is mechanical within the facility has to be regularly checked and maintained so that it doesn't, because we have ever had a match in the Kumasi Sports Stadium. Whilst the match was being played, the floodlights went out and it was a national disgrace. So everything should be regularly checked and maintained. And the predictive, like as I talked, there are machineries that are working there. So you should know the time span of those things. If it is I don't know whether it's a natural grass or it's an astroturf. It has a lifespan. So you should know when if it is an astroturf, for those pitches to be changed. If it's natural grass, there is every time that you have to cut the grass to a certain minimum level for people to play. And proactive, because people will be going to the field, you have feedback from people that this staircase, this place, the floor is, so that you get feedback and trends that are coming. Because you might use a WC as at this year, but subsequent years there will be different technologies that will come, which will be superior to the current ones that are existing. Because you want the facility to outlive many people, you have to change them. Although those things are not spoiled, but it will either give you efficiency, like WC. First, we used to use WC that when you press it, huge amount of water will be used. Now, the current ones that are in, you press it, it is a minimum water that you use. So all those help in maintaining facilities. So I would then say that all the 4 elements I mentioned are very important in maintaining a good facility like what is built in Takwa. Thank you very much for your question.
So viewers, this is where we come to the end of today's program. We would give an opportunity to our panelists to share with us their very last words. We'll start with Movi Faride. Movi Saab.
Yes, please. Okay. Thank you. When we talk of, maintaining the national properties, we are all supposed to understand that the national properties that we are having is serving as a national cake, and it is for each and everyone to take a share. So the Prophet Islam even mentioned something to that effect, that if you see somebody trying to disturb anything of Ghana's properties, you should try and stop it with your mouth. But if with your hand, if you are not able to, stop that thing with your hand, then with your mouth, at least you have to say something to the person to stop it. Or better still, report to the agencies and for them to take over. Better still, if you're not able to do these 2, then you have to dislike it. That is, you have to dislike it, say it in your heart that you wish that this thing had not been, not gone on at all. Again,
And that is the
Huzu-
weakest of faith.
Yes, please. Huzu have stated, when we are correcting some things like this, we have to be wise. We don't just correct anything just like that. You know, he stated something during the Jalsa Salana UK on the 6th August 2018. He stated that one must also choose the appropriate time, place, and way to guide others away from wrongdoing or sin. Certainly, to stop others from evil is virtuous, and if done in a right way, is favor. It is not right to humiliate others. For example, one should refrain from publicly exposing the sins of people. So as we said, you have to stop, but we have to know how to stop the thing in order to not cause more trouble.
Thank you very much, Mawisa. Mr. Zahid.
My last word will be education and advocacy.
Yes.
It is very important because during our conversation, we talked about what we remember in our childhood. Nowadays, you don't see it in our schools. Kids don't have that experience that we used to have and the love of, because now if you tell a kid to clean, he feels it is a punishment rather than an act of maintenance. So mine is education, education, education.
Thank you very much, viewers. We are really pleased that you joined us today for our discussion on maintenance culture. We believe you've learned a lot. And, through this program, we send a message to our respective governments and citizens of our country, Ghana, and in fact, to the citizens of the whole continent of Africa, that we should pay serious attention towards our maintenance culture as individuals, so that the government would realize that we ourselves are not ignorant, but we know what is better for us, so that they will take the necessary action to bring about a sustainable maintenance culture. And the government should also realize this, that they shouldn't allow the situation to deteriorate so much so that the youth are forced to revolt against the government. This perturbs the peace of society, and no society wants disturbance. Thank you for joining us. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Allah,